All right, thank you very much, Ali Faisal, and also Aina. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to Ignite 2021, an initiative by Iskandar Investment Berhad IIB and Iskandar Next. I'm Jay Suman, just simply call me Jay from Johor, from University Technology Malaysia, UTM. And yes, thanks for the kind introduction again, Ali. Yep. So we are currently running a program, a talent development program for IR 4.0 readiness, what we call as a Drone Edu Challenge. And yes, all right. Now, in conjunction in what we are going to discuss today, I believe at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we should already at least heard of 4th Industrial Revolution or 4IR and what lies ahead in the near future in related to drones and robotics. Now, the question you may be wondering, what are the industries, academics, authorities, agencies, and etc.? What are they doing to embrace that future for today? So thanks to Ignite 21 in this industry focus series, we are privileged to have our distinguished speakers and experts from various fields to discuss and to share their experience on building talent for industries of the future. Let me first introduce to you to our panelists of the day. Our first panelist, Dr. Sumitra Nair, the Vice President, Digital Talent Development and Digital Entrepreneurship at Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC. Dr. Sumitra leads the Digital Technology Talent Development Strategies for primary and secondary school students, as well as tertiary education, impacting close to 1 million Malaysians. Now with MDEC, Dr. Sumitra had carried out lots of initiatives to equip the Malaysian youth with the necessary digital competencies for the future workforce. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Sumitra Nair. And our next panel will be Professor Dr. Muhammad Shahir Shamsir Omar. Yeah, Professor Dr. Muhammad Shahir Shamsi Omar, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation of University Tun Hussein On, Malaysia, UTHM, a premier technical university located in the southern state of Johor, Batu Pahat, Malaysia. Professor Shahir plays an important role for the leadership and management of research activities, strategic collaborative, and to produce world-class graduates. Please welcome Professor Shahir. And our following panel is Jan Lambert. Yeah, we can have Jan Lambert. Hi. Yeah. Yep. Jan Lambert, the Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and founder of Epitome, a workforce analytics company that connects educational institutions, enterprises, and governments to help them manage their talent pipelines that can respond rapidly to industrial change or disruption by delivering measurable, improved learning outcomes, and prepares individuals for the life beyond their education years. Jan has 18 years of entrepreneurial career spanning across the continents, across 5 continents actually. Wow. Please welcome Jan. Yeah. So we have all our panelists together. How are you all? Hopefully you all are, we are in the midst of the pandemic. We hope that everyone is fine. And we are doing our best to cope up with everything. But, 4IR is just ahead. We still have to do something. And this is what we are doing. Again, congrats to Ignite 2021. Now, we will go to the first round. The format will be like this. We will have each panel to share on their experience on some of the questions that we will address. Then later on, we will have some time for Q&A. So dear listeners and viewers, yep, you may post your question. Yeah, you may post your question and we will read it out to the panels later on during the Q&A session. So we will go with Dr. Sumitra Nair. Yep. Dr. Sumitra Nair, yeah, Malaysia government recently actually launched the 4IR roadmap and the My Digital Blueprint, right? Among the targets and vision is to create 500,000 new future jobs, creations for the people. So maybe if you can share with us, what is MDEC's role in preparing talents for industries of this future? Over to you, Dr. Sumitra.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Jay, for that question. Let me just, if you don't, since we have a bit of time, let me just share what we do in MDEC. So I think you can see my slides, right? Okay.
Yep, I can see.
All right. So many of you may not be aware. Actually, this week MDEC is celebrating our 25th anniversary. So we've been around for 25 years. And over the years, we have reinvented ourselves. So we've not remained the same MDEC that was started 25 years ago. In fact, back then, the full name of the organization was Multimedia Development Corporation. Today, it's known as Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation. The acronym may sound similar, but the full words of the organization name has changed to reflect the change in focus. Now, moving forward, these are the 4 key areas that we're focusing on. So you mentioned Malaysia's My Digital Blueprint. Those are very, very important frameworks, of course, for us to guide us in our way forward to become a more digitalized society, a more advanced society. And the question is, what in MDEC are we doing? So here's what we're doing. These are the 4 things we do. One is, of course, as you rightly pointed out, talents is going to be a very critical part of this entire My Digital Blueprint, and it already is. And so we have a huge focus on ensuring that Malaysians have, the digital skills, literacy, and jobs to ensure that they have this career continuity, income continuity, and so on. The second area is in driving adoption of digital technologies, especially amongst SMEs, small and medium-sized companies. The third area is to continue to grow our own local ecosystem of disruptors, we call them. Not disruptors in the bad way, but disruptors in the good way. So disrupting the status quo to make something better, right? And this is where our GAIN program, I think Epitome is also part of that, and some of the other companies that you'll see in the week's events, including Aerodyne, where we help to grow local tech companies to become global giants. And the last but not least is to continue our role as an investment promotions agency to drive digital tech investments. Let me just share a little bit more on skills, since that's an area that I lead in MDEC. So, thanks to the MC and yourself, Dr. J, who introduced my profile. So I think that was slightly outdated. We now have impacted more than 2 million Malaysians, and we do that across target communities, right from the emerging and the future, talent pipeline from school children as well as university students, but also the current workforce. And also this latent or hidden workforce. This hidden workforce could be, retirees, could be women who've taken a break at home, taken a break from careers and so on. It could be people who are differently abled and so on and so forth. And so what we do here, because I know it's mainly companies, industries that are on the call today, we'd love to partner with you on these initiatives. And I think we've also partnered with UTM before, Dr. J, with some of your initiatives in drone tech for children. And so that's what we do. We try and see how we can cultivate among children this digital innovation and creativity so that they can be better prepared for jobs of the future. And, and also I think the other point to correct is, we all keep saying jobs are going away. They're not really going away, they're changing. Right? So there are certain roles, and this is not something entirely new. Throughout the course of time, we've seen these kinds of shifts happening, maybe not at the scale and the speed of what we're seeing today, but it has happened before where you see old roles going away and new roles, coming into play. And that's exactly what's happening. And if you look at the statistics by the World Economic Forum and all the other studies out there, you'll see the same, right? So that's the first point. Now, with regards to what MDEC is doing, specifically because we have companies on the call, I wanted to just share this one initiative. And it's something that, we launched in April, and it's still on. And it's, to me, it's a win-win initiative to support employers and unemployed Malaysians for digital tech and services related roles. And so it's called the My Digital Workforce in Tech, and it's got 2 key focus areas. One is digital business services, where it's all ranges of digital services related roles. Could be digital marketing, it could be customer experience, a whole range. And then the other one is a little bit more hardcore tech, and that's called the Digital Tech Apprenticeship, where we're offering incentives for companies to hire unemployed for roles in software development, cybersecurity, as well as in data right? And so there are, as you can see, there are salary and there are training incentives. And these incentives are given to employers, yeah, and it's given on reimbursement basis. And so this is very quickly, this is the 4-step application process. So there is a QR code down there, and if you're listening in, just whip out your handphone and just just link to the website. And basically, companies need to apply online to have their eligibility checked. We do a pre-screening and so on. And then once everything is okay, you hire your candidate. We give you 2 months to hire your candidate and to identify a training course. And you can choose courses. If it's a services role, it could be an in-house training. But if it's a more tech-related role, or if you don't have the capacity to train internally, you can tap onto the digital skills training directory that we have live on our website. So you select your training, select your candidate, and then you submit all your documentation for approval. And so once we go through that and everything's okay, then you start enjoying your incentives. So these are these are the sort of the 4-step process. If you're interested in this incentive, which may have interest you, but of course it's a short-term thing, and I think the longer term is to look at how we can equip the emerging workforce from schools, universities, as well as to reskill the existing workforce to ensure that they have skills that continue to be relevant as their roles continue to evolve. Yeah, so that just briefly is what we're doing with regards to My Digital. Back to you, Dr. J. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Sumitra. So I would like to take this opportunity to wish MDEC 25th anniversary. Yeah, happy 25th anniversary. Yeah, and yeah, okay. So Dr. Sumitra had mentioned just now about a very catchy quote just now, that jobs are not going away, guys. Okay, jobs are not going away; they are just changing. The same goes to us. We have to change, and that's why life is so dynamic. Like what Albert Einstein said, the only constant is change. Yeah. So talking about change, yeah, this have something to do with epitome, Jan Lambert, right? Maybe, yeah, we can put this forward. Epitome has been working with local, right, and global talent development agencies to help them develop better strategies in preparing the future workforce. Now, can you, Jan, share on how your platform can help us understand our talents better in order to match them with the right upskilling, reskilling courses that the industry requires? Over to you, Jan.
All right, thank you so much. And hello, everybody. So what we actually have been doing since the beginning of our company, we were founded actually with the help of MDEC. I still remember I moved to Malaysia to work with MDEC on our first platform that we rolled out in Malaysia, which has now all universities of Malaysia connected to it, all the graduates coming through it. But the one thing that we always look into is how do we keep improving ourselves? Because if you start to understand the individuals, every individual learns different, is motivated by different things, is eager to learn different aspects. And we know that motivation has a direct correlation to performance at work. So the core of our solution is understanding the individuals and then being able to link him with content or with courses to prepare him for the next step in their life, being it a career, being it in school, being it a continuous career, etc., etc. So that's the core, where we look into the interests, the motivation, then the skills, understand the skill gap, and then build a lifelong learning journey that goes to lifelong employability. Because as Dr. Sumi said very well, whatever you learn today will be irrelevant in 2 to 3 years. So how do you develop this lifelong learning mindset so that you stay relevant into the workforce of the future?
Jan, sorry to interrupt you. Your voice was a little bit breaking up just now. You may want to position your microphone close to you.
Test. Okay now?
It's a little bit dim. Can you find another position?
Yes.
Now it's much better.
Okay. Now?
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah, talking about the talent gap over here. Yeah, when Jan mentioned about the talent gap. So this is where we want to bring Prof. Shahir. Yeah, Prof. Shahir to come in from the academia. Right, we have Professor Shahir, and just let me get something up here. Yeah, Professor Dr. Muhammad Shahir Shamsi Omar, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research Innovation of UTHM. Prof, could you share with us, right, a little bit some of the highlights on initiatives taken by the universities to produce employable and skilled graduates? Over to you, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Dr. J. If I have your permission, may I just show a few slides to highlight some of the things that we were doing?
Please, Prof.
Okay, hi everyone. I hope you see the slides from UTHM here. So I'll do a presentation screen. Okay. So thank you for the host, Farhan and the team from Iskandar for inviting me to be part of the talk. So briefly, UTHM is the only university in Malaysia who has their own aviation program. So we have a cohort of around 30 to 40 students every year. So in 2019, we received the approval from CAM, and we have currently 35 students. So this is when we say our contribution, this is our most direct contribution, because we have our foot in the industry through our training academy. So our program is two at the moment: the piloting program, where students will graduate with a professional piloting license, and as well as aircraft maintenance for the second one. So we both serve the air crew and the ground crew as well. And we have our bachelor here. This is a brief description. This is Bachelor of Aeronautical Engineering Tech with honors. And we have the Bachelor of Aircraft Maintenance. So we have our teaching facility in our main campus in Perak Raja, but we do have our flight operation center in Senai Airport. So while waiting for our airport to be completed in 2023, so we'll be the first university with our own airport. So we hope we can contribute directly to the ecosystem. So this is our simulator. This is one of our older aircraft. We just bought our 3 new aircrafts, and this is our future facilities. We are currently starting construction of our own airport in Batu Pahat in near Tanjung Labu. So we have a runway with facilities, support system. So it's independent of Senai. And we also have our so we hope to also contribute to the aviation. And this is some photos from our graduates. That's it. Okay, so with hang on, stop sharing. Okay, with our direct contribution, I would say that like most other universities, we try to produce graduates that can meet the expectation of the industry in terms of the mental skills development. And I think people moving forward with IoT, big data, and all these other supplementary skills. So student needs to be taught more and just the rote learning that we're usually accustomed to. So apart from this direct contribution in terms of our degrees, our facilities, our airport, we also try to enhance the student ability by, for one, we hope that we have a longer engagement with the industry. We have what we call a student internship program that allows the student to be attached to the industry up to 15 months. So these are some small changes that we make in accordance to the MQA guidelines, so that we prepare the students for the industry. And I think we do also try to send our students out early. I mean, throughout the courses, when we have students that go on short attachment to the industries. So this is what UTHM does. I think all other universities does the same thing as well. There are some adaptation that we do with regard to adopting our students to the the expectation of industry. However, again, we have the MQA to contend to, so we hope that we can try and match your expectation. Yeah, that's it, Dr. J.
Thank you very much, Professor Shahir from UTSM. Yep, just a little bit extension since I'm also from the academia, right? As from the university, right, like UTSM, UTN, and many other universities as well, we always have this curriculum review to actually cop ourselves up with the industry demand and what's happening contemporarily, especially in embracing the fourth industrial revolution. So we have all these critical technologies such as IoT, blockchain, you name it, all this AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, and all those emerging technologies coming into that, such as drones and robotics, embedding all these technologies into our academic programs. So students actually in university are equipped with all these, not only fundamentals, but also some hands-on activities as well. So they have all these, I would say, the fundamental before they step up to the industry to serve the industry, to serve the community. And of course, with that saying so, we also really need the industry to play their part, to assist us, to let us know what are the demands, what are the current, what's happening. Let's help each other. So that's why we have all this kind of collaboration and ecosystem from many parties, such as in UTM, what we have is what we call as the aim for star, where we have the four parties comes together at any project, such as the governance, the academia, the industry, and the community. So whatever project when we go, we have to go for these four to get involved in order to carry out certain things. Now we have some time. That's a good thing. We can have more inputs from our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go for our second round with Dr. Sumitra. Dr. Sumitra, talent development is always a challenge that a lot of companies are highlighting in growing their businesses, developing new products, etc. And Malaysia has around 87 vocational colleges, 357 schools. Those statistics, right? Vocational education, public universities, private universities. Now, how can we align what universities or colleges are producing to meet the industrial demand? This is so in line with what Prof just mentioned just now as well.
Yes. Thank you for that question, Dr. J. I think there will always be this slight misfit. There will always be this slight misfit, simply because of the way education is structured today, right? And the way education is structured is quite different from the way industry is structured. If you think about the speed, if you think about the innovation cycles, if you think about how it's linear, the learning is linear, it's somewhat different from where and how the industry is operating, especially industries that are deep in using digital and fourth IR and all that kind of technologies, right? And so I, for one, think that there will continue to be a misfit, and I think we should, I think that both sides have a role to play, as you say, right? And I know the universities are trying their best to ensure that they meet industry requirements, but I also think industry must acknowledge and accept that it may not be a cookie cutter situation, in the sense that cookie cutter talents is something that you may never get, right? You're not going to have somebody show up at your door ready to hit the ground running on day one. That's not going to happen. And so I think we need to have a slight shift in a mindset, or maybe already the shift is happening now, because with the KPT Penjana and so on, more and more industries are getting involved. But I think this is where the industries need to have a bigger stake in talent development. They need to be involved, not just at the point of internship, but even before, through whatever work-based learning or sandwich programs, whatever you call it. They need to be involved earlier and throughout the journey of that student. Only then, I think, can the university and the industry jointly develop the talents together. So we have an initiative that we call Premier Digital Tech Institutions Initiative, where we work with 16 institutions. So 11 are universities, 5 polytechnics, and now they span 24 faculties, because what we've done is we've expanded beyond computer science, gone into electrical engineering, some of the business schools as well, where they're looking at data science and things like that. And the way, our main big thing there is all about getting industry on board. and yes, of course, the usual curriculum reviews, all of that's important. But one of the things we also do is we try and create digital tech faculty experts. So the lecturers themselves must be exposed because we do have a lot of career academicians, right? And yes, of course, they are solid from a academician point of view, but if we want our graduates to be more industry, almost industry ready, if not completely ready, then the lecturers themselves must have that industry exposure. So we have a huge focus amongst the premier digital tech institutions to develop these digital tech faculty experts. And we do that by working with industry, bringing industry in, and giving these lecturers training to the point where they actually earn industry certifications, right? Be it cloud related, data science, cybersecurity, whatever, industry certification. So they are fully exposed and they can then impart that to the students. Of course, the rest are given, but I think this one special additional feature is something that, I don't see enough happening, right? And I think we need to give that more attention. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Sumitra. Before we go to the Q&A session, that's great. We already start to have questions coming in already. Okay. Let's move on to our next panel, Jan. Yeah, Jan Lambert. The second question, maybe if you can share with us, is it a situation now the pandemic has definitely changed how students, graduates, even workforce consume and acquire knowledge? How do you see the trend of online learning in preparing the workforce in the technical areas?
No.
This is over to you, Jan.
Good question. Thank you, Dr. J. I think, before I start answering the question, maybe like what we learned from the pandemic and what we have seen happening in the region, but also globally. There's two things that really became very clear, like the mismatch of skills. It's real, it's today, we're in the midst of it. We are at very high unemployment percentages compared to 10, 15 years ago, etc., etc. So the mismatch of skill is really real. The second thing that we have learned is that the solution to the problem of the mismatch of the skills is not just technology. And that is, I think, a very big revelation that happened in the last few years. It's not like you can send your entire workforce to Coursera or Udemy or Lynda and everything will be fine. It's not. There's a very low completion percentages on those pieces of content that are on there. So where I believe that the learning and the online learning is going to go to, it's going to be more personalized, it's going to be more adaptive, it's going to be more responsive, it's going to be around micro-learning, it's going to be focused on your knowledge and your skills, because we know whatever you learn today will be irrelevant in 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, for example. So that lifelong learning mindset through probably micro-learning and sharing with others, so that you can guarantee this lifelong employability. So you always stay up to date for the next phase in your career, because reality is, our kids or our youngsters, they will have to reinvent them multiple times in their career to remain relevant, basically, because, there's so many articles out, like, yes, jobs are not disappearing, they are being changed and being optimized, but it's different skills that are required. So I hope that the online learning part, I think our youngsters have that covered. They're extremely fast with it, but I just hope that the employers also will follow and not just look at the CVs anymore, but really look into, hey, this is person A, has a learning mindset, has interest in this, and these are the courses and the skills that he has learned over time. That's how we have to start validating talent instead of purely on a degree or a CV or whatever. Thank you.
That's beautiful, Jan. Yeah, I totally agree when you mentioned the two things. Yeah, the first one is the mismatch of skills is real. Yeah, and it is so clear when the pandemic kicks in. It actually gives us some wake-up call, in a way. Yeah? And the second thing is the solution is not just technology; it's actually more than that, such as a lifelong learning mindset. That's the key for us to actually remain relevant. And this is just so in line with what Dr. Sumitra mentioned just now. Jobs are not going away; they are changing. So we need to have this lifelong learning mindset for us to actually keep ourselves remain relevant. So there's no point just keep on complaining. Why are they changing? Why are they doing this and that? instead of why are we not trying our best to adapt to the changes. So I think that would be more like a solution instead of complaining and so on. Anyway, we should go to the last round to Prof. Shahir before we open for a Q&A session to engage with our listeners and our viewers as well. Prof. Shahir, to you, a lot of technical modules and courses require physical presence and practical training in getting students to understand about certain subjects, face-to-face learning, right? Amid this pandemic, aside from ensuring proper SOPs are observed, how can government and private corporations encourage adoption of technologies such as AR, VR, mixed reality in our future classrooms? Over to you, Prof. Shahir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. J. Thank you to other panels as well. Great insights. As to answer your question, I think talking about technical module, which is UTM is a technical university. So we are in a different pond compared to UTM. UTM is a research university. You're into the cutting edge, bleeding edge of research. In our case, we're more focused on our engagement with the industry and producing employable graduates. So talking about that, what UTHM has done, and also other technical universities, I believe, our challenge here when we talk about the AR and VR, the modules, yes, we know it's already out there. You have to have hands-on. We know that the government has encouraged the 2U, 2I, where you spend half of your learning process in the industry. There have been initiative to create living labs, initiative to create, for example, a teaching factory. So all this address the physicality. So coming with COVID and they ensure the AR and the VR is the next step. But in my opinion, personally, our two challenges is one, you will never actually replace hands-on. In the VR, when you wear the goggle, you need to turn the knob or the screw until it's tightened. But how tight is tight? We don't know how tight is tight. So that comes experience, that comes with so what we happen is, okay, let's try to weather the storm, the COVID storm, but we shall never replace actual learning with AR and VR. We can give them a good head start by allowing them to visualize, because the good thing is usually previously when people learn, they have to look at the static diagram, the open pages, they have to imagine. Now with the VR, AR, you have a 3D, even a 4D concept where time is involved. So you improve the process of trying to understand it. So you can actually teach them more complicated concepts that previously is restricted to 2D pages. Now you can tell them, teach them more complicated and quickly. They will understand it faster, but it will never replace actual experience. We have to weather the COVID and get our students back to the industry and learn and do it. I mean, I can't think of a substitute of that. And secondly, the nature of the things that we learn changes so quickly. In order to create the content, learning content for the AR and VR, by the time you create the content to learn, the equipment has changed. So I personally, I don't think that there's a good way. We can supplement, but nothing beats the conventional learn. We have been using our imagination to learn for hundreds of years. Let's keep doing that.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. There's nothing can actually replace on hands-on activity. This is just the nature of we human, right? When we learn to walk, we learn to run, we learn through practical. We have to try and fall and so on. Of course, with the assist of the parents and so on. So everyone could play a role over here. Okay, I think we can take in some questions from the floor, virtual floor. Okay. Now we have a question from Vikram, right? Okay, let me just read out. And is it possible that the problem is not the raw talent in Malaysia, which everyone agrees is in abundance, but rather those in the position to foster change lack in the skills to recognize these hidden talents? For the panelists, the question is actually in the chat box. I think you can view it, right? In case if I didn't read it out clearly. But he didn't address to who. So yeah, we will just open to the panels. Whoever wants to address this question, please go ahead. The problem not draw raw talent.
Yeah. Skills to recognize. I mean, who? The
Yeah.
industry or the policymaker? Or
Maybe we can listen. Yeah. Dr.
Yeah.
Sumitra, would you like to share something?
Sure, I can give it a go. I mean, yeah, it's true. We have lots of talents, right? And it's about how do we spot and identify these talents. I think sometimes, you know, we employers try and look for a perfect fit, and that may not be possible, right? And so I think we also, as employers, we need to walk the talk. Like we all talk about transferable skills, you know, we talk about the need to reskill and upskill, lifelong learning, but yet when it comes to our hiring decisions, we want a quick fix, right? And we want like that talent to be ready like now, yesterday, right? So that may be difficult. And to that extent, I do agree that yes, we do have lots of talents, and we need to be more open about identifying what are those traits and attitudes. Because, you know, you can, a lot of people say you hire for attitude and you train for skills, right? So does the candidate have the attitude which, you know, shows that they're positive, that they have a growth mindset, they're willing to learn new things, that they have the ability to learn and continue to learn, right? I think that's what's most important in today's job market. And it's not something just for the job seeker, but for employers. We need to take a good hard look at what we're looking for when we hire. So as Jan said, it's not about the CGPA 4.0, you know, flat, or even a degree sometimes, right? It's the attitude, and whether that attitude is going to fit with what we want for our organization, and the value system as well that they have, whether it's going to fit with the organization's value. And then the rest, you know, you can train for. Because today, the good thing is, you know, you can learn anywhere and everywhere, right? And learning has become so affordable and so accessible, provided you have that growth mindset.
Yeah, great. Yeah. We'll go to the next question by Lee. My company is a drone company working in agriculture sector. We are looking for a lot of talents that can do R&D in drone technology and at the same time work in plantation, agriculture, dirty jobs. We realize the TVET graduates are more adaptable to this, but TVET students are difficult to reach. Okay, we are looking for automotive, electrical, mechatronics. Is there a single TVET or graduate database that we can tap or engage? Yeah, I think this question, yeah. Prof. Shahir or Yan? Anyone?
Give it a go real quick.
Okay, Yan.
Like, yeah, there are several initiatives and portals out there. One portal is run by the Ministry of HR and Ministry of Education. It's called Next, and actually all the graduates on a yearly basis enroll on that platform, get profiled and basically matched to companies. So I should check that one out. The other thing, what we also should be looking into is, like, if you're looking for talents, don't only look for like specific fields, like you also have to look into the interests of people, like what you're, or like, for example, if you are a drone company, maybe you should be looking into hiring pilots who are losing their job on a daily basis and who might have relevant experience and knowledge in your field. So yeah, always try to build your team like with somebody experienced and then a few graduates around it. So, you know, that I think is should be a really big strategy. And then just sounding on what Sumi said, Dr. Sumi just said as well, is you shouldn't be just looking at, you know, the CVs, but really like the mindset, right? Like, do you fit with us? But actually the largest things that employers are looking for is teamwork, communication skills, problem solving skills, and English. English is also a very, very important part of finding a job here in Malaysia. Those four are like the largest things that the companies are looking into. So you have to also, like, there is enough talent. right? We have close to 500,000 graduates every year. We have right now, I think, close to 600,000 to 700,000 unemployed graduates across Malaysia. So we have more than enough talent. So and there is so many ways to find them now, but I think we have to look with a different lens to the talent. You know, they will never be perfect, but you have to just look into their mindset and then carry on. And check out the Next portal from the Ministry of HR and Talent Corp, and there you can find quite a large database of graduates.
Yep, great. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you have watched the previous videos and talks by the other experts from the different slots, right? Actually, we do have enough talent. Talent is actually keep on coming, like what Jan mentioned just now. Graduates are coming every year and so on. But the thing is, talent, we want to attach them with the required skills as well. So talent has to be along and in line with skills, the skill set. And these graduates, they are young. You see, our kids, they are just like my kids and your kids, right? They just graduate. They don't have much experience in the industry and so on yet. They need to talk. They need to be shaped and teach and guide. So employers, including academia or even industry, we can actually play our role as a leader or in a way as a parents to actually shape the young talents actually. So with experience over time, I believe with the right attitude and with the right leadership and with the, like Dr. Sumitra mentioned, with the right working culture and the values of the company, we will have good talents and the right skills for our nation. Now, the next question here, I think this question is, we can put it forward for Prof. Shahir. Learning and creating new talent is great in new industries. How often university creating new industry programs on job TRGS in 5G, AI, ML, and etc.
Okay.
I'm not sure about what is a TRGS. It sounds like a grant.
Training. That's TRGS is training, I think. Okay. Okay. The limitation of education in Malaysia, because we are actually teaching people like what education has been designed even before the industrial age. It's a large class rote learning. You memorize this, and then we will give you a cert. Okay, let's have a look at this. People can take you. People can trust you to take you. In the employment. The problem with that system is we are in the era humanity that things are changing exponentially. With the coming of the AI and everything else. So how MTON actually, because I'm part of the Malaysian Technical University Network, how we try to adapt to this is that we have a basic, what you say, 101. You have to learn this, but then at the end of the third year and the fourth year, we have a lot of open-ended subjects where people can then insert, for example, at the end of the day, maybe they need to learn programming using Raspberry Pi, for example. So we can quickly do a course and then include that without actually getting into a problem with the qualification agency. So we do that as one day. So to say that we don't change the curriculum at large per se, we try to supplement at the end by giving them the training on campus. And also the Technical University Network has a unique learning experience where a minimum of 12 weeks for the internship, but the longest that I know is 15 months. So you can actually have the student engage with you through their final year project, through the internship, through the 15 months, so that you can actually know the student. Okay, does the student suits our culture, and do they have the learning ability, etc. So we have that slight advantage compared to the conventional research university. So again, to answer the question of the TVET that Jan has answered, is available. You can look it up, and then once you engage with our students, we will usually facilitate, because we want the student to be in the industry early, the engagement early, because we see that that's the only way we can adapt. There's no way, like Dr. Sumitra mentioned, there's no way we can fit in immediately. There will be a lot of trying to suit the gloves. It's not Iron Man suit. Everything just falls into place. It's more of a a costume, really. Yeah, that's it, Dr. J.
Thank you very much, Prof. We still have a little bit time. I would like to share something that what I'm doing, and maybe if you all can comment on how can we leverage on this as well. For the Drone Edu Challenge program that we have initiated, actually it's a joint collaboration with DRZ, Iskandar Investment Berhad, Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia, the Ministry of Education, and also UTM, and also many of the NGOs, clubs, and associations. So we bring all these players together, come in, and to bring in this drone technology, starting from the primary school all the way up to university. So that's the program is all about. We call it Drone Edu Challenge. And inside there, we not only focus on the fundamentals, but also the applied skills such as programming and some of the hands-on virtually. But then, yes, like what Ian mentioned just now, and also Prof mentioned, that nothing can actually replace the hands-on. Yeah. However, because of the COVID situation, there's nothing we can do to leverage what we can do online for now. Then later on, we have to, do something back to actually cover up back what we have missed out on the hands-on activities. Yeah. So this activity we have from the school students coming into knowing the basics about drones and robotics, and also what's going on about the Industrial Revolution. I would like to share some of the data we acquired. Yeah. Out of the survey from around close to 4,000 students that we have for this training program, then we asked one simple question. Have you heard about Fourth Industrial Revolution? One simple question, we asked that question. So from that survey, the students, around 75% mentioned yes, they heard about it. That means we still have around 35% more, maybe have no clue about what is Fourth Industrial Revolution. Yeah. So these are maybe some of the things that this kind of data will help us out in policy makings and some actions and plans to reach out these people. So, okay, now we have one last question. I think this will be a last question. Let's welcome this question. A lot of technical modules and courses require physical presence and practical training in getting students to understand about certain subjects. Amid this pandemic, aside from ensuring proper SOP, how can government and private cooperation encourage and adapt AR, VR, MR in our future classroom? I think this question has been addressed by Prof. Shahir just now, right? And the conclusion is nothing can replace it, of course.
Well,
I do agree with that, right?
You can supplement it, makes the learning experience better, but you can't replace it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So, okay, it's already 2:50. We have come towards the end of this program and our discussion. Maybe we'll go for one round for a closing remark for each panel, around 2 to 3 minutes. So we'll go with Dr. Sumitra. Is it okay? A closing remark from you. Over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. J, and also the panelists as well as the organizers for inviting me. And it's been wonderful to be on the session. I think there is no easy solution. There is no silver bullet to the topic that we're discussing today, which is to prepare talents for this 4th IR based economy that we are now in. But I think the only way moving forward is for us to stand together and to continue to work together. So this requires the concerted efforts and energies of all parties, right? Be it, Dr. J, you mentioned your 4-star, is that right? Yeah, your 4-star, where you have the industry, university, government, and businesses and so on, working together. And so I hope that we can continue to do that. And MDEC is an agency that looks to how we can facilitate this collaboration between the private and public sector, as well as educational institutions, to look at how can we address this issue. So, if anybody on the call would like to know further about what we do or would like to collaborate with us, do feel free to reach out and drop us a note, either at our customer service, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and then we can start talking. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Sumitra. A closing remark from Jan Lambert. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun, guys. I think you know, we always expect a lot from our children and our graduates, and they have to be ready, and they are spoiled these days, and they have way more opportunities that we have. But I also think we have to start thinking a little bit differently. Like as our role of our parents, we have to be open-minded that our kids are probably going to take a career that we have no clue about, no understanding about. As an employer, I think we have to put a little bit more effort into understanding new employees so that we can help and guide them. And because, you know, it is one of your largest assets of your company. So what we have tried to do with Epitome, and we're trying to do this on a continuous basis, is we work with individuals and we try to prepare them basically for the future and lifelong employability by bringing out the best epitome of themselves, or becoming the best version of themselves. Companies are going to go through a big stress and are already under a big stress because they have to now start optimizing their workforce. They have hundreds or thousands of people, and there's a huge skills mismatch, not only from hiring people, but it's also the internal staff that is having a problem. So we're trying to help those companies on how to navigate their workforce through these challenges. And you know, companies that are, you know, banks today are IT companies tomorrow. So there is going to be a huge shift there as well. And then we try to help governments across the world, where we help them to give panels and dashboards and meaningful data so they can make policy changing decisions based on data and analytics instead of gut feeling, basically. So that's what we try to do on making the world a better place. But I think, you know, it's not only misery that came out of the pandemic. I think, you know, we have proven that we can go through it. Our students are still learning, our companies are still surviving, you know, so we have adopted. And I think now we just have to make sure that we keep improving on every level, from individuals, government, and the companies out there. So yeah, best of luck.
Thank you very much, Jan. That was wonderful. For the last closing remark, over to you, Prof. Shahir.
Okay, thank you. I think everything's great has been said by the previous two panelists, Jan and Dr. Smitra. I mean, being last has its privileges. So I just want to cap that as institution of higher learning, we try to do our best. Yeah. But again, it boils down to working together. We have to have the students with the right mindset. We have to have, you know, industry giving us the feedbacks, and we hope to do our best, because at the end of the day, our children is our future. Yeah, thanks, Dr. J.
Thank you very much, Prof. Shahir. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come towards the end of our discussion today. So, hopefully, from this session, we have get some valuable inputs in looking into the talent gap that we are seeing, and some of the challenges, and some of the great advices from all the panelists that we can actually apply. And at least the greatest talent that we have are our kids at home, right? Our kids at home, those are the great talents are waiting for their employer, which is their parents, to actually shape them. And for IR readiness, we will make them ready for that. And with that, we have come towards the end of session. I would like to thank you very much to all the panelists, Dr. Sumitra, Jan Lamberts, Prof. Shahir, for the valuable expert advice and sharing experience as well. Thank you very much. It's a privilege for me to share this speech with you.